here are 3 sneaky and unconventional ways to increase the productivity of your sales team. I've been invited all over the world to help entrepreneurs, sales professionals, and executives maximize their mental performance so they can double, triple, or quadruple their output and productivity. And what I have in front of me right now is 3 ways you can maximize the productivity of your sales team. And no, it's not about how you structure the commissions, the objection handling techniques, or simply having your team call more leads. So let's start with the first way, which is going to be tracking their sleep quality. So for every one of your sales members, for your sales representatives, for your closers, you need to track their sleep quality. Why is that important? Because it's the main variable that controls their energy levels and focus. It controls the production of hormones and neurochemicals. It directly impacts dopamine levels. It directly impacts their cognitive health, and it directly controls their mood. All of those variables will influence how they show up on the calls and how they talk to people, and the application of the sales skills that you pay coaches to teach them. So sleep quality is the number one pillar that affects productivity, energy levels, mental clarity, and simply their ability to articulate themselves on the calls and put into practice all those things that you're paying mentors and coaches to teach your team. Now, how do you actually go about tracking your sleep? And this is quite simple. This is what I have here right now, what I'm wearing on my finger. You've probably seen it before. It's an Oura Ring. So wearables like Oura Ring, Whoop Band, Apple Watch Ultra, those are the 3 best and most accurate wearable devices to track your closers or to have your team wearing to track their sleep quality. And if you want to take it to the next level, I don't think this is necessary, but there is the 8 Sleep, which is a sleep pod, which is pretty much a mattress for your closers to have to track their sleep. Now, I don't think this is necessary. This is pretty good and does the job, and it's pretty accurate. And using those wearables, this is, for example, what we use with our clients. This is Oura. We are going to be able to see exactly what time we go to bed, what time your closer went to bed, this particular person, because this is individual, what time they woke up, and their sleep quality in more detail. Those are you have specific KPIs that you want to meet. So for example, the brain rejuvenating part of sleep. So the part of sleep which is most important for mental performance and mental recovery and mood and focus, which is REM sleep. How much of that are we getting throughout the night? And we can see here that this person's sleep quality is pretty much optimized because they're getting over 2 hours of REM sleep, which is significant. They're getting about 2 hours of deep sleep, which is absolutely fantastic. So we can see how their routine is affecting their recovery, the stress levels, and their sleep quality, and we can reverse engineer that. Or we can do that via Whoop, which is another platform, another wearable device that shows us ranks recovery, strain, and also shows us the exact same thing. So sleep efficiency, time in bed, REM sleep, deep sleep, and all the things that are important to show us how our lifestyle is affecting stress levels and recovery. So we can reverse engineer that and focus on the things that actually work and help your closer recover at the best level. Again, to recap, sleep is one of the most fundamental variables that will influence your energy levels and your focus. As a result of that, it will influence how you show up on the calls. It influences how I'm able to record this video right now. If I sleep poorly, I will not be able to articulate myself better. I will not be able to articulate myself good on the video next day or talk to people and be precise and sharp and clear on what they say to be able to use that as ammunition to close the deal. Even if I have really high sales skills, if my brain isn't able to fire on all cylinders, it is going to affect my closing rate in my sales performance. So sleep is out of the way, first variable. Let's go to the second unconventional, sneaky way that you can increase the productivity of your team. And I'm saying sneaky way because you won't see a lot of people talking about this, but it's something that will simply change how you think, feel, and act. And it's something that directly impacts your sales performance. So way number 2 is tracking gut health and digestion. Number 1, in your gut, you have production of hormones and neurochemicals. As a matter of fact, 90% of your entire serotonin production happens inside the gut. And 50% of your dopamine production happens inside the gut. Serotonin is the feel-good chemical. So it's the hormone that actually helps you feel good and mellow and nice, which will affect how your mood in the sales calls. And this will show on the prospect. And also, dopamine is the chemical of more and the chemical of desire and drive and motivation. How productive, unmotivated, or motivated you feel throughout the day has everything to do with your dopamine. And if the foods that you're eating aren't aligned with your gut health and are causing inflammation inside the gut and aren't properly being digested from the gut, that will influence your dopamine production. And as a result of that, your motivation, drive, and mental performance. It is directly connected to the brain. You have the gut-brain axis, which is a connection between the gut and the brain, and will influence anything bad that happens inside your gut. For example, if your gut is inflamed, this will show in your mental performance. You will be more foggy and less focused and less energized and more moody. It all comes back to the serotonin production, dopamine production, and the neurochemical production that happens from the gut. It directly impacts your energy, mental clarity, and focus throughout the day. So, for example, depending on the meal that you're eating and depending on how it's affecting the gut and digestion, it impacts your energy, mental clarity, and focus throughout the day. And it also makes up 80% of your immune system, which is one of the main reasons why, if you are on a strict diet and if you're eating healthy and you go and travel and you eat a bunch of unhealthy inflammatory food, you are 10 times more likely to get ill. And it's because it makes up 80% of your immune system. So if your gut is inflamed and the foods that you're eating aren't properly and optimally digested and absorbed, and they cause your gut bacteria based on your specific makeup of gut bacteria, because you have trillions of gut bacteria, aren't really aligned with them, then it's going to cause inflammation. And as a result of that, it's going to cause you to get sick more often. It's going to cause your immune system to get weaker. Now, how do you track your gut health and microbiome? The number one thing that you need to do here is perform gut health and microbiome tests, such as Viome, MyBioma, Zoe, Vibrant. There are a lot of different companies. For example, here we have Viome. This is one of our clients that shows us, once we take the test, it shows us based on which strains of bacteria we have more of, and based on the balance of good versus bad bacteria, it shows us which foods we should avoid, which foods we should include, and if we essentially personalize our diet based on the foods that we should add more of and avoid more of, then we are optimizing the gut microbiome. And as a result of that, the dopamine production, serotonin production, and cognitive ability of each specific closure. Now, this is going to be something individual and different for each specific person, because every one of us has a different set of bacteria inside our gut. We have trillions of bacteria, and I can show you examples here, but I'm not going to log in and log out of hundreds of accounts. But this is just an example here to show you how the results would look like if you use something like Viome, for example. Well, let's go to the next variable, tracking hormone levels and nutrients. Now, why should you even consider doing that? It will directly impact your mental performance. So things like drive, motivation, energy, and focus, and mood, they are affected by testosterone levels, estrogen levels, cortisol levels. All those things directly impact your mental performance. They affect your sleep quality and recovery. So, for example, if you have high cortisol levels as a result of a poor lifestyle and poor habits and a lot of stress, that is going to affect your recovery. That is going to affect your testosterone levels. Now, as a result of that, as a result of having the first pillar of your mental performance ability being compromised, you're going to have worse mental performance. And as a result of that, you get into that negative loop cycle where every single part of the domino affects the next. And then you have directly impacts longevity, health, and vitality, which is going to affect every single component of your performance. How do you go about testing and tracking hormone levels and nutrient status? You either do blood work in a private clinic or lab, or you use a medical testing service like Inside Tracker, Omnos, Bionic, Randox Health, Metropolis. There are hundreds of them across the world. It is important to note that you don't want to do, there is those finger prick tests. You don't want to do a finger prick test because it's very questionable as to the precision of the results and as the accuracy, because the sample of blood is very minimal in regards to compared to the actual markers that you're testing for. And you will see when you're testing, for example, for 100 biomarkers with a lab or a medical testing service like the ones that I referred here, with the exact same number of markers you can get the exact same number of markers with a small blood vial with like a few drops of blood, which is highly questionable, as opposed to getting the same exact number of markers, but with 3 or 4 full blood vials, which raises a lot of question marks. So go with those options here, and those are the best options you can track your hormone levels or nutrient status. And to show you an example here of one of our clients, this will show you exactly the aspects of their health that affect their mental ability, their energy levels. For example, we have vitamin D. This is actually more of a prohormone than an actual vitamin. It affects testosterone production, it affects immune system, and it affects also mental performance. Then we also have things like, let's see here. We have things like HbA1c, which also affect mental performance, recovery, cognition, and how smart you are. All those things you will be able to see and distinguish after taking a test and seeing the data. Because again, you might think that now eating a healthier diet, eating more steak, eating more eggs is good for your testosterone levels, and that is good because you don't raise your blood sugar levels after you eat. But you're not going to be able to tailor the diets based on each specific person because you don't have the data. And if you think about it, you track the data of each one closer. You probably have tracking softwares or Google Sheets even where you track each closer's closing rate and their sales performance and how much cash they collect. I'm going to show you about that in a moment. But you don't do the same for their health and mental performance stats. And this system here will allow you to do it. And once you collect all of those data, all the 3 key ways to collect the data, sleep, hormone levels, gut health, then what you can do is collect all the data and use it to keep all of your closers accountable. Again, you have the data don't lie. Your closer could tell you that, hey, I went to bed at 10 and woke up at whatever, but I still feel tired. And you might be asking him, hey, why are you not performing like you did last month? What is wrong? And they're telling you that everything is right, but actually, is that the case? And if you have the data, you will be able to keep them accountable purely based on the numbers because the numbers don't lie. You're going to be able to establish a clear KPI roadmap for performance. So you will be able to see, okay, what are the metrics, what are the KPIs that allow my team to perform at the highest level? And you're going to be able to make the correlations. And using the data, you're going to be able to uncover specific habits, routines, and variables that negatively affect each closer's sales performance. So again, as we saw before, we're going to be able to see on the poor recovery days, what are the things that we did if we track those KPIs that actually affected the sales performance. And we go to the dashboard of that closer and we see that, hey, we have those specific metrics that we can see that your recovery that day was pretty poor. And we can reverse engineer what happened on those less optimal sleep days like this year compared to the more optimal sleep days or recovery days like this year, for example. And we can double down on what works. And then we can prioritize the calendar of the highest performing closer. For example, you can use something like this here, which is a dashboard that integrates all those scores numbers and ranks the highest performing closer based on things like, of course, your cash collected, of course, your closing rate, but also things like your protocol adherence, your energy levels. And you can then correlate their energy levels with their offer close, and you can see the closure that clearly performs best based on data because you collect all you integrate all of the data here that we collected and energy levels, hormone levels, all that data that directly impacts mental performance, energy levels, and focus. And you logically know that those aspects and metrics affect their closing rate, but now it's time to put that on paper and see how it reflects on paper. And you're going to be using this scoring system, you're going to be able to rank them out of 100 and then clearly see based on those metrics, daily system adherence. This is something that we use internally for our clients. Daily system is the combination of their routine, their protocols that they have to follow individually for a specific day. We call that daily system. And we've found that the higher the adherence to the daily system is out of 10, the better the performance. We found that the higher the adherence to the daily system is, the higher the closing rate and the higher the cash collected. The higher the daily adherence is, the higher the performance score. So the performance score is a collective number that we've found with using the cash collected, closing rate, but all the mental performance metrics as well. Diet adherence, their exercise, and all that kind of stuff. So this is how with those 3 sneaky ways, you can increase the productivity of your sales team. Even if you keep your sales team sales knowledge, your offer, your marketing the exact same, and if you increase the throughput, which is going to be their mental performance, the throughput of your sales process, it is going to allow you to double, triple, or even quadruple their output, simply because you're addressing the root of the problem. If your sales team is underperforming, it's probably not because of your objection handling techniques. It's not because of the way that you're paying them. It's probably got to do, some aspects of it had to do with those variables, with how, like your commission structure, your sales script, your marketing, your offer. But if you keep those variables the exact same with your current level of performance, now that you're watching this video, I guarantee you that this is going to help you double, triple, or quadruple your sales team's output. And I'm telling you this because I've done this with hundreds of sales professionals, high-performing entrepreneurs, and executives. You can see more about that if you go to my channel. There, I've linked the my testimonials channel, and you can go through there and walk through the testimonials and case studies and see actually the results when we implemented that with other sales professionals, agency owners that are doing a lot of calls, a lot of sales calls every day, how it doubled or tripled the revenue. More importantly, if you want to see how we have developed a system that you can integrate to your sales team step by step, because now this is quite vague and abstract, click this video here on the screen where I show you how to create a protocol step by step where it integrates all your closers' sales performance data with their health performance data to double, triple, quadruple their output and productivity so they can close higher and make more money. Take care.